Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another POS Uncensored, where we tell you the inside, the outside, all 360-degree view of point-of-sale systems that are helping merchants across the United States. And when we talk about those things, it's not just going to be me, because I'm just a marketing guy that just knows a few things, but we got a person who knows a lot of things, the man, the myth, the legend, the person who actually, holds down the fort when it comes to point-of-sale systems across the U.S., Mr. Matt Proctor. Matt, how is life? About 15 minutes away from me, and I have a real hard question. Who's winning the NCAA championship?
Well, that's easy. I mean, obviously, that's my team. It's not UConn like everyone thinks. They're going to get really slowed down the next couple of games, and that's where the Arizona is going to come through in the end, and that's okay. If you guys don't believe me, just wait till he's laughing at the end of the tournament. But there's a lot of good teams left out there. So yes, I'm excited for another POS Uncensored. I apologize, Nate. I opened up that wherever the blinds over here so that my plants didn't die, and now I forgot to close it.
Hey, I can crop it out on the 2-shot here. I can't crop it out on the 1-shot. But
that's why I turned the computer. Like, let's keep that out. My plants were dying. I've kept them alive for like 2.5 years now, and I was like, need some sunlight.
This year, I finally bought one of those grow lights this year for my my plant. It's my herb garden, and my mint has done really, really well this winter. My mint, I've been able to keep my fresh
like
cilantro. What was that?
Mint grows like a weed.
Yeah, I love my mint because I use it on all kinds of little things. I love to do like a mint cucumber salad with a little balsamic. It's really good. There you go. But my thyme, my rosemary. The only thing that didn't do as well as I want, my oregano has struggled this winter. It didn't last all the winter, but I'll try it again here in about 2 weeks when I grab another oregano plant. All that. This isn't This Week in Nate's Herbs Plants. This is POS Uncensored. And specifically talking about POS when it comes to e-commerce. So I'm going to start by the first question. And it's a definition question. Is there a difference in how you define online ordering, as we now like to read OLO or OLL? When people started using that, I was like, is that olive oil? Oh, no, but online ordering or and e-commerce. And is there a difference in those definitions and when talking POS and using those two terms?
In my opinion, yes. I think there is a big difference in these two, because anyone can do online ordering. That does not mean that they have a full POS, they need a full point of sale, they need inventory integration, things like that. When I think of e-com, that's what I think of, okay? With e-commerce, where I need that data, I need to connect it to my brick and mortar business. I need to understand the two and track inventory between one or the other So someone's not ordering a pair of shoes online when really we're out of them in the store, and those two didn't talk to each other. And a lot's changed throughout the years. Companies like Shopify came out where they originally were really just online ordering. And then they realized they were missing so much business without doing brick and mortar. And they really changed their business model and went full e-com and do both hand in hand really well. And we go up against Shopify all the time. Not only can we integrate to them, we have some of our softwares integrate to them, but that's what we need, especially on that retail side. But I mean, it holds true for restaurants as well. They have to manage their online ordering really well to make sure they're not running out of product. It's printing to the right kitchen printers, things like that. So it really goes both ways. I think when people hear e-com, they only think retail. But really that encompasses all businesses that also have that full brick and mortar, and they need that integration together. So yeah, I think they're dead.
Well, I think it's created a word that I like to use, hybrid, that we have brick and mortar and e-commerce, and most of these places are doing both. Certainly they come transitioning from both ways. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes, where you transition, you were only selling online and e-commerce, and now you're going to have a physical presence, whether it starts at you're doing some of the shares ordering or doing a flea market type thing, or actually opening a brick and mortar. And it goes the other way. You start out as just brick and mortar and you start selling online. I think the biggest thing is that logistics and the expectation of e-commerce now is when I order it, you have it, and I'm going to get it in the set amount of expectation of days of shipping. So if you're ordering from Temu, that means you're going to get it in the next 6 months, and it's going to come across on a boat that probably can't get in the Baltimore Harbor now. Or
I was going to mention something, Temu, but go ahead.
Or you're going to order from Amazon, where I can go on right now and order a plethora of things that can get delivered probably between 6 and 10 p.m. at my house, because I'm equidistant between two big Amazon warehouses. And those expectations for a small business is being able to manage those logistics. That's what becomes more and more difficult. And that's where having a point of sale that ties together with their online presence that's doing their e-commerce is really important. When they're talking hybrid and they're split, they're doing some e-commerce and they're doing some brick and mortar, what are the pitfalls you're seeing as people try to do those two things? Maybe they're transitioning or they start doing that. What are some of the pitfalls that you see people are doing or struggling with when trying to have both online sales and in-person sales?
Yeah, one of the biggest ones, Nate, is inventory management from the beginning, because as you guys know, anyone can have, a brick and mortar. We're doing well. Okay. Nate and I have our own shop doing garden supplies, and now we're growing and people are asking about our website. So we want to upgrade that to be able to take online payments on our website and have our own little shopping cart. So we can go and have our own auth.net account and just set that up. But without going through the proper channels and the right point of sale software, we're not going to know what's selling online without checking constantly. And a lot of small business owners, they do that. They don't mean to, but that's the quickest and most cost-effective way to get up and going and selling online right away. And then they realize, okay, this is a pitfall, as you said. This is a huge problem because we're not able to fulfill some of these orders because we had Randy come in and buy us out of them last week, and now they're still on our website. Okay, and they're going back and forth in that aspect. So really making sure that the two connect constantly is key. And that's kind of goes the same way. If you're a small online presence only and you finally got a chance for a brick and mortar, you need to look at full software right away, because if you're doing online only, then you're not prepared with most likely not prepared with the right software that also has hardware to support the brick and mortar. And so this is a good thing for you to discuss with your merchants on the different options that they have over just an online account. So it goes both ways.
When working in e-commerce, I would assume that there becomes like a split inventory at some point where it's almost like enterprising, but you're saying these are going to be in my showroom and these are going to be my back room that are available for shipping. And when you're a small store, you don't have, it's all coming from the same location, but you don't want someone going online thinking they're going to be able to ordering at the same time someone's buying it up front and having bad expectations where you feel like you're going to have to take one of the orders right away. How are they managing inventory when they have brick and mortar and they have online delivery, but they're a physical good that they only have 10 of? And if a guy walks in and buys all 10 and a person online at the same moment does 6, should they have two different inventories? How are you encouraging them to manage that? I'll call it warehousing. I don't know if there's a better term, to be able to fulfill.
That's a good term for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, warehousing is a good term. And you know what's sad, guys? It just comes down to their actual point of sale software, and some of them still can't do this. So let's talk about the good side, okay? If we get a good retail point of sale software with full inventory management, like Retail Cloud, okay, that does this really well, not only with warehousing, but the full e-commerce. What Retail Cloud does is every single thing is in real time. So right now, Nate's online ordering something because he's the king of online ordering. I'm standing there in the store waiting in line like the dummy that I am that goes and stands in line. And Nate beats me to it. Okay. It alerts the actual brick and mortar that can no longer be sold. Okay. That it's going to be taken out of their shelving unit. And now, actually, that was a bad example because they're not going to have anything out on the floor that's also going to be available online. Okay. So you bring up a good point, Nate. There's going to be certain stock that's always allocated to being on the shelf, and that will never be available online and vice versa. Okay. Everything, though, in stock is going to be available for both. And we've had this happen before. So they go and say, hey, you know what? You're out of this red fern. They look it up and they say, you know what? I believe I have one in the back. Okay, they go back, they can't find it because a picker's already come and grabbed it for an online order. They go back up front, it shows that it's out. It's all real time. It shows immediately when the out stock is gone in the warehouse or in the back. So to answer your question, they keep them separate because you have to. You're not going to put what the hardware store has on their shelves to sell for online order. You're just not. It's bad business. But we've seen before where they don't do that at all, where they literally have 37 t-shirts and they hope that people come in and buy them, but they also put them all online. And what happens? They piss people off, because they just sell them right there to Joe Schmo walks in, and then it's not connecting, or they're not marking it down, it's not connecting and showing that now there's only 4 available. Okay, it can work. It can work that way, guys. If I want to put all my clothing and everything I'm selling at my little store all on my online ordering, every time I ring one up, it will deduct from the amount I have online. But that is a really small mom and pop. That's a risky way to do it. It's smarter to have allocations of where things go. All can be done in the point of sale software if it's a good retail software like Retail Cloud. Okay? Corona can also do that.
So if you use the definition, this is how I would define it a lot of times, you just got to make sure everybody's using it the same way. But I always think e-commerce in my way is I'm going to put this in a box and ship it to you. Online ordering is you're going to come pick it up from me, or I may deliver it through a short order delivery like an Uber or something like that. But it's something that's going to be transacting very quickly. But when what we're seeing is a lot of these places, you go into Instacart is one that does it really well, where you can order. So it gets delivered to you, or you can choose pick it up, and you can go and pick it up, but you're ordering from the same interface, and you just choose which one, and then the fees do it. Do we have systems that give you that capability to do e-commerce and online ordering all together and be able to choose from the same interface? I'm going to pick this up at your storefront versus I'm going to pay for shipping to have it shipped to me.
It depends on the system, but yes, we do, Nate. Yeah, we do. We do have both. We do have both. Now, our restaurant softwares have all gone away from that. Okay. There are some that can still do pickup in store, but obviously you have to pay. The old days of just ordering online and coming and picking up and paying have gone away because of the young kids out there and other stupid people that would ring up a $200 order and then never show up. So as long as they're paying up front, there is an option to pick up in store. Yes, that option is also available for our retails. What we see, especially over the last couple of years, is more and more companies wanting a shipping integration. And that's been a big demand of our retail softwares is, do you have a shipping integration where I can do my FedEx shipping and my UPS shipping through the point of sale software? Our systems now are actively working towards that. Our newest point of sale partner, which we just rolled out, Greta, but they will have that incorporated with their online ordering as well to also work with the shipper. But that's something that's been kind of big as Amazon's out there just dominate, and these small businesses struggle using ShipStation, or whatever they're using for shipping. And so I've seen that over the last couple of years as a big pressing issue with these large retail softwares like Lightspeed, Retail Cloud, Corona, things like that. So that is something that's coming down the pipeline for us to be able to have that integration, so they're not on their own with shipping, and can connect directly to their account, but it's not there yet. So I wasn't sure if you're going to bring that up. I was throwing the shipping aspect of it.
Well, and shipping is important to be able to do, and that's a and helping your merchants walk through that, how to do shipping, to think through. Because I think a lot of people, I'm not logistically minded, but I certainly when I start thinking about, okay, getting to that last mile and making sure that it's as little work as possible, because I got to put the X product in the Y box and put the label on, and then make sure it gets to where it's going to be shipped by, and all the logistics that go in there. If you can streamline that through one place, makes life so much easier. You mentioned,
Right.
We've used all kinds of different shipping softwares, but when I like ones where it brings it all together, and I can choose whether I want USPS or UPS and FedEx, instead of having to go to each one of those sites and use their software to do it. I can choose how I want to ship it, make sure the labels are printed, and helping people walk through that if they want to make that bridge into truly being e-commerce and shipping to the door. That's a big project, and I think most small retailers are like, no, I'm not going to mess with that.
Right.
And I understand why not. But also you're leaving a lot, because you have people like myself who, I can't remember the last time I stepped in the door. It's probably Christmas. I probably did a couple things, but I don't go to Target. And there's a percentage of me that you're just going to give up on, because I'm not going to come to your store. I'm just not.
Has it really been that long? Has it really been that long since you've walked in a store? That was like a retail store.
Absolutely. Last physical store I walked into was.
Are you doing all the groceries online too?
I have gone to Trader Joe's, because they won't doggone have online ordering yet, but that's the only place I go. Everything else gets delivered.
Horrible roommates. We'd be horrible roommates. I would walk in with all these awesome groceries. You'd be like, I just ordered something. Like, we got a lot to cook.
We got to coordinate together. But I have nearly everything delivered. The last physical store I walked into, other than Trader Joe's, shout out Keith Sampson, I took my kids to get at a shoe store up there in Warsaw, Indiana, at Cloud9. And that's the last physical store I think I've been into, and that was in January. I can't remember the exact date. Second week, third week of January, something like that.
I'm glad you made it up to support them.
So, but at the end of the day, there are and from my understanding of reading the numbers, I represent about 10% of the market. It's a minority, but you're going to give up that portion of sales if you're not willing to do e-commerce. And the tools are making it easier to do e-commerce and still manage. And that's where the opportunity for payments people to walk in and say, man, we have the tools. We've got Retail Cloud and Corona. Here's the different features you may have. We're going to help you be able to figure this out. We've got Greta. There's, we're going to be able to help you put the tools into place. And especially if we can figure that final last piece for the shipping. And then even, because I don't know any of our software is doing this yet, but I know it's got to be coming. I mean, Uber is now doing lots of, I can get on Uber and have, or Uber Eats and have CVS delivered, but I'm starting to see some of those small little pop-up retail stores. Like I can get Spec Supplies, which is a local pet store, independent pet store. And I can get it delivered here. So I'm like, okay, there's that integration coming on the retail side to Uber, and the others are doing it too, because I see it on Grubhub. You can get CVS. So I've got to think they're going to come to the down market and come to the individual stores. And the same thing, we're seeing those third-party integrations on the restaurant side are going to come to the retail side here very quickly. And hopefully we'll be there. Hopefully our POS partners will be there to be able to integrate with that, because I mean, the amount of sales that are happening, that's by itself made Uber profitable. The fact that they can do that last mile delivery for so many products. And if I needed to deliver something to you right now and I didn't want to get in my car, I could call an Uber parcel, have it here in my house in 15 minutes and have it to you in 30 minutes. And I'd never have to go anywhere. And I've done that twice, and it's a magical experience. And if you can manage that through POS, could be a lot of fun. We're not there yet, but that's where I'm at.
So hold on. I got a question for you on that.
Yeah.
Is Uber also trying to get in the liquor field and compete with Drizzly?
Well, they own.
I think I heard that a while ago.
They shut down Drizzly. Drizzly is shut down as of the end of this month, and because they bought Drizzly and are incorporating it directly into their Uber Eats app. So
there you go.
So they are doing liquor delivery. Every state's a little bit different. I've noticed here in Indiana, but there aren't. I think there's still some licensing, but the rules are changing as of July 1st here in Indiana, and so Uber Eats is going all in on the alcohol delivery. Each state is a little bit different, but yes, I think that's all. I mean, Uber is getting right into that game. I've noticed that Postmates is in there, which is also still owned by Uber. So that's the same thing, because you basically have Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber, and then Uber owns several of the others. But they're all getting into like liquor delivery. Each state's a little bit different. And then you have the micro delivery, micro warehousing products like GoPuff and some of these others that are also just, really, I mean, I live right by a GoPuff. 6 minutes is a drive, but I've had the fastest delivery so far of $50 of like convenience store type groceries I've had in 6 or 8 minutes. 8 minutes from order to delivery to my doorstep.
That's freaky fast. Better than Jimmy John's.
Yes. And they track it for you. So they'll tell you, they're really all about setting expectations. And I think our POS systems are going to come to that. Right now, all the big boys all do it, all the block stores, and, they're doing it. Then they've come to the the CVSs and the Walgreens, where they've already had great inventory. And now they're going to be starting able to plug into the independent stores, the 1 to 5 location stores that have retail, and be able to provide that last. And the nice thing about the retail is you can come over and buy it for, you can buy your t-shirt for $25 here, or you can order it on Uber Eats through our POS system for $42, and they'll make the same amount of money. They'll mark up, but it's a convenience fee basically for the person if they want to do it.
Right.
And then the big, when you can get onto like Instacart, and because Instacart, that's what I started noticing, that they're getting some of these individual location independent stores on Instacart. And I was like, wow. So, I mean, they've got to be able to tie into the inventory.
Yeah, that's news to me. Yeah, that's cool.
So, and I don't know how all that's happening. So it'll be interesting to see. It's something but I've just noticed.
Wonder what software they're using.
That's what I've wondered. Or
if they have a whole separate system, like the way that the third party started with the restaurants, like
they've got to be plugging into their in-store inventory, because I don't think they're not shipping from the back. They're shipping from it's like ordering from Meijer or Target. Now that what Instacart has also done on those is they're doing real-time pickers, and they communicate with you as they pick the thing, and they're like, oh, you said you wanted, I'll use grocery in this case, 3 peppers. They only have 2. Do you want a replacement item? And they text and chat back and forth with you.
Do they really?
Yeah. You need to use Instacart sometime.
No, I don't use that crap. I love a grocery store, buddy. I'm in a grocery store like 3 times a week. I want to see, I want to smell, touch that produce. I don't want Joe Schmo going and grab my shit, even if he is texting me. But that's me. I'm like 83, and 83-year-old in this body.
Yeah, and I'm older than you are, but I'm still living the dream like I'm 18.
Yeah.
So, it is, but it's just something for our businesses to think about, because it is coming for the micro stores, and some businesses will decide, I don't want to mess with all this. I make enough money to do this. I'm not going to mess with the last mile delivery. I'm not going to mess with shipping. It's not that making that extra money is not worth it. But a lot of them are going to go, man, I'm losing. In metropolitan areas, I think they're losing significant amount, because in Manhattan, my friends that live in Manhattan, they never do anything. Because they spend 10 hours a week trying to get their groceries. They get it all delivered to them. They get their dry cleaning done. They only have 1,200 square. They have 150 square feet to live in, and they don't have the space. Everything gets delivered to them. Each location is different, but if it's just, you've got to be thinking through this. And I think our tech is finally getting there, and we can start talking to our partners about it. And hopefully we're going to see even more integrations into these third parties, because I think they're happening. And I know, having spoken just recently to one of the third parties that manages the restaurant third party integrations, they're starting to think about it. And so how to integrate on the retail side and on the product side, and getting into the inventory systems, and hopefully our POS systems are starting to think about that too. I'm looking down at my questions. Okay, let's talk about specifically, you mentioned it earlier, the third-party integration, Shopify, but it also could be WooCommerce or BigCommerce, and we're in online sales, and then they want to work into brick and mortar or start using something with POS. Obviously, Shopify is the biggest competitor for us in that, because they work on both sides. Okay. What do we have to offer our partners? Then they say, man, I've met this person that has a great Shopify store, and do we have anything to offer to compete with them or integrate with them?
Yeah. So like I said, we do have Retail Cloud and Corona. Retail Cloud actually can integrate to Shopify. It's not cheap, I'm not going to lie. And they're still paying the Shopify, for online. So we're paying monthly Shopify, also monthly, the Retail Cloud to have integrate. But if they're dead set of, I've had Shopify for 4 years now, or however long, I don't want to change it, but I would love to have Retail Cloud like in the store, then yes, we can make that happen. Corona has a direct integration with WooCommerce. They do not play with Shopify. but they do very well with WooCommerce. And then through EPX, we've got BigCommerce. You guys can always do BigCommerce at any point. And we can still, connect that. And I apologize, guys. I wish I could just sit up here and tell you I've got 4 different retail softwares that are all phenomenal. It's a harder field to get into. It took a long time for me to bring Corona on board with us and have that angle worked out with them and have that amazing partnership. So I'm still looking, different ones that might fit a different demographic that we're missing out on or fill a gap. But right now, it's just the main 2, Shopify. If they insist on it, keeping it, Retail Cloud. If they're open for different options, then we opens up the door to both. Okay? Corona, can you build it for them? Or Corona works really well with WooCommerce. Okay. And then obviously we already have BigCommerce in our back pocket. So, and then we just need, we need off.net accounts is a big thing to set up as far as the payment side. There is a second MID needed for online ordering. Can you make that very clear with everyone? Agents forget this all the time. They set them up. They're like, yeah, they need online ordering. It might even be the monthlies list on Retail Cloud. Everything's set up. And then they never do a second MID. A month goes by and Retail Cloud's like, they're all up and running, ready to go. They're asking about e-commerce now. And we have never received anything. No other MID, no VAR sheet, no, Moto setup, off.net, nothing. So make sure you're covered to understand that a second MID, they still talk to each other, same inventory, same bank account, that needs a second online ordering merchant account, excuse me, for e-commerce. So keep that in mind.
All right. We've 25 minutes of discussion, and I don't want to take all of our time. And last thoughts on doing e-commerce for our partners with integrating POS. What are things that we've missed that are any big pillars that we should have been talking about?
I mean, I don't know if we missed anything, Nate. I mean, it's a future. You said it. It's the name of the game, guys. It is the future. I mean, 10 years ago, I would never imagine, how much we've done in 10 years just on the online ordering side and the e-commerce side. And I'm not talking restaurants. You guys all think I'm just a restaurant guy. I'm talking full retail too, and what I can and can't order from these stores. It's phenomenal, and it's not going away. Guys like me who think really old school are all going to die. we're all going away. Or you know what? We have to change, and that's what it is. Bottom line. I mean, is moving forward, and in some ways it's kind of sad, and we want our mom and pops to keep up with it, and that's where you guys come in, where we come in to help them, keep up with the larger stores out there and growing their business. And I had a long training earlier with 30 partners. And towards the end, that's one thing, that I made it very clear with them. I said, guys, this is about the end game. This is not about your money right now, what you want to mark up or how quick you want to get this. Your job is to make your partner and the business owner successful. That's it. That should be your only goal. Not how much money you're going to make, is you're going to make them grow their business and be successful. Your money's always going to be there. All right. If you do that and you focus on helping them, and how can I help you get your e-commerce up and running? How can I help with inventory? Let's get this going. They're going to be with you for the next 4 or 5, 15 years, and they're going to come to you when they need more advice. Your money's always going to be coming in. And too many of our partners are so worried about, oh, well, they do 20 grand online and 30 in the store, so I got to get that. It's all money, money, money. Like, no, help them get set up for success to grow their business. And they're going to tell everyone about you. And that is a big thing with e-commerce, is keeping them in business, guys. We have to focus on that more and focus on selling success to your merchants and you caring about them and not about your bottom line. That's my two bits. Sorry, I'll stop preaching.
I love that. I mean, and I was just hearing the story of Howard Schultz recently, the founder of Starbucks. Well, now he's not technically the founder. He bought he's the one who created Starbucks and took it from one store to whatever number they're at now. But but specifically talking about the inflection point, because he left he's gone back into retirement. He's still on the board, but gone back into retirement. I think he's 70 or so. But I was hearing the story that he had left one other time, tried to retire, and it was right at that inflection point when people were starting to make online, and Starbucks wasn't the first one to be on online ordering, and they lost 22% or something of market share in about a 2-year period because they're in their major metropolitan areas, places like Dunkin' Donuts, and at that, they didn't own them. Seattle's Best and a couple others got to online ordering and app ordering faster than Starbucks did. Now they do it better than anyone, and they jumped, but
yeah,
he came back
to what they needed to invest to do better. Yeah.
And I think, and that's obviously giant scale, but I've seen it multiple times, and I see it here in Indianapolis where we will have a small little mom and pop grocery store pop up, or like more of a convenience, and if you have one that you can do online ordering and delivery and things like that, and one that doesn't, the one who has made the most opportunity to serve the most customers is the one who always succeeds. And I know it's not less work. It is a pain in the rear, and you got to be honest with people. Yeah. Doing e-commerce and online ordering and all the extra work, it is not easy, but it increases, and it's not going to be less. There are always going to be people like Matt Proctor, and God bless them, that are going to walk into your store and make sure they're going to be a physical presence. They're going to drive over to you and do that. But the number that are not, it may be only 10% now, it'll be 12 and it'll be 15. And I don't know where it stops, but it's only growing in the next 10, 15 years. And if you're losing that part of your business, you're going to have a hard time existing in 2030. And I think most businesses look out and think, man, I really want to exist in 2030, unless they're 90 now and maybe they're already done. I don't know that but I don't know. I don't walk into many businesses and go, hey, you want to exist next year? And they go, no. So that's, that's the kind of stuff.
Now you got me thinking. I gotta say something really quick here, because now I want to go down the street to this amazing coffee shop. Okay. That's been there, and you probably have never been there, Nate, because it's called the Human Bean. And I don't know if they have online presence.
They do. I've ordered online and done it on when I was involved in B&I. I ordered it because I used to go to a B&I there at 62nd and Keystone. I would order the Human Bean, pick it up, and then drive home. It was a little out of my way to get there because it's like 30. Is it 50? I don't know. It's right there in Keystone, though.
52nd or 54th, and something like that.
I went because I went south to come back. I've been there twice, but I also know I can order them on Grubhub too. They'll deliver to me.
So, okay, good, because you were worrying me as you were just talking about that and about who's doing it, who's not. In my head, I'm thinking I've had probably 7 different people tell me that they prefer Human Bean over Starbucks, and it's a local run shop, and I don't drink that crazy foo coffee. But I love to hear that. I'm like, well, I want them to succeed. Yep. And I know that my wife will stop there. I'll drive downtown to work, and she'd much rather go there. Even though she loves Starbucks, she'd rather support them locally. And so that's great to hear. I was thinking I need to get my butt down there and make sure they get an app going, they get online ordering, they do a third party, something to get the crowd that is missing them.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear.
And I think further down there on Fall Creek, just as we travel through Indianapolis, Command Coffee there that's took over the old Starbucks there at 38. It used to be Magic Johnson's Starbucks. We're getting the stories here going, but and they've now opened. They've now taken over a second Starbucks. Now, a Starbucks location there on the Indianapolis Circle, because Starbucks closed there on the Circle. They opened the day after the All-Star game was here. Dumbest open ever. Sorry, Command Coffee. I've talked to you personally about that. I was like, you had to work overnight for 5 nights, be open when we had 100,000 extra people in town, in our downtown. Dumb idea. Don't know what happened with you. But they also has struggled with their online ordering. And I was coming home from the state fair, because it's not far, last year, tried to order on their online app, and was just so I could drive through, pick it up. I had my kids, and and I needed some caffeine after being in the state fair for like 6 hours, and I couldn't get it to work. I don't know, but it was my one experience. Never been back. And
the Human Being will do better than them if they can't do that.
I should have gone up. I was trying to come over 38th to Michigan. It doesn't. I don't need to. This is not the Indianapolis show, but our point is, this is something you've got to be in the conversation with, and eventually it's going to hit the majorly the bottom line of a lot of our independent restaurateurs. Absolutely. And they have to, and a coffee shop has to have that pre-order thing, because people are wanting to come and go, and there's a lot of people want to come and sit. So one that they finally do online ordering, and I think it's a 4 location. They're originally in Milwaukee, is that Quills. It's down near 10th and Meridian. You would love that place. I love that coffee shop. I'm assuming that Bigsby's Coffee or Biggie, that's all over Michigan and down north. I'm assuming they probably do a really good job of online ordering and maybe have an app. They do.
But I mean, as we talk in the coffee world, obviously, guys, translate this to every other industry and not just in coffee, but these are great examples of how you can go help that mom and pop. You know what I mean? And really get them up to speed with online ordering.
Yep.
Just don't do like Command Coffee.
Well, and maybe they're better, but I'm like, I actually had a second experience where I tried to go through their drive-through one time, and I was Well, no, but speaking, because I remember I remember bad experiences. I don't always remember the good ones, but I remember I went to the Broad Ripple Farmers Market and then was driving to downtown to watch my daughter run cross country. And I thought, oh, I'll drive through and get a coffee. And I got into the drive-thru. I sat there for 10 minutes. I finally had to back out and get out of there because it wasn't moving. I have no idea what their issue was, but I was like, I've had 2 bad Command Coffee experiences, plus the fact that I saw that they didn't open. They opened the Monday after the All-Star game. I was like, I don't know what's going on with them.
Branding, I mean, it's very forceful, Command Coffee, and there's even their
they're local. I know they are, and I know they're local and local owners, and I want to support. I only use Starbucks usually when I travel because it's so easy to it's just ubiquitous and I can just jump in and at the airport. In fact, I think I've probably done it with you. I'm sure I'll get a probably. Yeah. Well, no, even at the airport though, I now on the Delta Wing, I'd walk all the way down and get Tinker Coffee, which is local instead of the Starbucks.
There you go. Good. So,
because I try to support local. But and that's where. All that said,
hold on. If we're in just one last question, I know we're running over.
Oh,
if we're let's say in a Delta Sky Lounge in Atlanta and we're eating our free food and drinks, would you not drink their coffee and you would leave to go out in the terminal and walk down like a few hundred yards to get your Starbucks and then bring it back?
Oh no, because I'm really a black coffee drinker as a whole. I don't drink.
Okay.
So now my kids love the Frappuccinos and it's a treat for them. So we're going on spring break tomorrow for several days, and I will be shocked if I don't treat them to a Frappuccino at some point because that's just kind of a thing.
That's how my boys are. They love the Frapp. Yeah.
But
so I understand.
But I will always try to do local, and even in airports, it's harder and harder because it's so expensive to get in those airports, and you don't. That's why the Indianapolis airport's done a really good job of mixing local, fairly independent. They're all multi-location, but you've got Tinker and you've got Bubs and you've got
Bubs Burgers
and Herring Izzy's
sushi place. The sushi place is also the local. So
yeah. So
hey, question about Starbucks because I haven't been there thankfully in years. If I get the pup cup that has like whatever whipped cream, would they frown on me if I just gave that to like a kid in a high chair? Like because that's perfect for a little kid. Like I don't have a dog right now. So would they give me a pup cup just for like my little girl to shove her face in? Because that's a great treat.
They might. I don't know. I've never tried it, but I will guarantee you if you drive through the drive-through with your dog in the front seat, they will always, even if you don't order it, they will offer the pup cup to the dog.
So I have to show them a dog probably. I couldn't be like, I've got a dog in the back.
I've never tried. I don't know. But they always get it's a real thing. And my dog loves it. The other thing I learned recently to its credit. So I don't usually try to go, but we were driving through a Burger King because I needed a quick burger and it was the fastest place between my house and Pike High School. Doesn't matter where it is, but it was that I had a choice between Culver's and Burger King. There was no line at the Burger King, so that's why we went. But I had the dog in and my kids in the car, and they asked if they could give my dog bacon, which I was like, you just won me over.
That's awesome. I'll take a Whopper, you give him bacon, and we're all happy.
We're all good. I don't know if it's good for my dog, but my dog loved it, and I probably So, all right, this has been POS Uncensored. This is hopefully 30 minutes of your best interaction when it comes to POS. Make sure that you consider how to help your merchants do e-commerce online ordering and work with the POS Pros team to do that because we have multiple systems. Just go to the POS Pros or go to mypapertech.com and look at some of the information. We're trying to get more of that up there, but specifically about the e-commerce and online ordering. That's so important. And restaurants have been doing it for a while, but now retail, small independent, where it's becoming an opportunity and almost a necessity. And as you become more and more conversant in this, it's going to be very, very helpful for your industry. And it's just good for business. And we want to, like us talking back and forth, I don't want to go to Burger King. I wish I could go to Working Man's Friend, which is a small local all the time. Can't always do that. But when I can, I want to. And as PayProTech and as our partners, I really believe we want to help those small independent restaurants, those small independent retail stores. And there's so few of those retail ones left. And so any way we can help, let's do it. All right. This has been another episode of POS Uncensored. Thank you guys. Thank you, Matt Proctor. One last thing. Both Matt and I are, if you're watching this live and you've made it all this way or live or in the before next week, April 2nd through 5th, we will both be at NEAA in Albany, New York, walking the river downtown, going to the convention center and find us and you'll connect with us. So put a comment on this YouTube. We'll find it. Better even yet, email me at nmanahan@papertech.com or mproctor@paymentshub.com and say, hey, let's meet and talk. We would love to do that. Whether we'll figure out in the schedule what we can do, but we're there.
Actually, mine's Matt P.
Matt P. Sorry.
Payments Hub. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. And we'll be in New York next week, and then hopefully we'll be back for another Uncensored. We'll be talking about Vegas, and we'll both be there for a huge event. So keep an eye out, guys, on what's coming up. We'd love to meet you in person.
And I'll add one more thing. You made it all the way in, and you live in the Long Island area. From the 5th to the 7th, right after I'm NAA, I'm going to help out a couple partners in Long Island. I'm staying in, I think, in Garden City. I forget the exact, right in the middle of Long Island. I'm going to be in Long Beach. I'm flying into LaGuardia. I have a rental car for the 5th and 6th and the morning of the 7th. I have some time slots. If you want to connect, I'm filling it up. I want to be there, and I want to be around as many partners as possible. Would love to have you that time. So on that, you made it all the way in. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time on POS UnCensored. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.